about Mrs. Smitha, Kuttayya. Mrs. Smitha is a serial entrepreneur and has the good fortune to have an environment that gives her the leeway to pursue her interests and hobbies. Mrs. Smitha worked as a teacher in Abacus Montessori School from 2003 to 2006, teaching subjects as varied as English, mathematics, and science for classes spanning from 2nd to 8th. She has worked earlier in school for young children. She is also a consultant at her mother's school, We Kids Nursery School. Having been exposed to various teaching methodologies for young children, Smitha also did a short Montessori training during her stint in Abacus Montessori School. A Natya Vidushi, Smitha has been a performing artist in India and England. She is an auditioned artist for Doordarshan and has given performance there. An avid orator, Smitha has used these skills honed in her growing years to train other children in the field at her after school, Fun to Learn. She has also taught oratorical skills at the British Council Library, Chennai. Smitha runs Global Teeny, her catering and baking venture. Smitha has been baking for orders in Chennai since 2000. First as Limited Overs, then as Baked Delights, and now as Global Teeny. We are so happy to welcome you to our program. Welcome.
Very happy to be here too. Thank you.
Can you just share your life journey in a small cutie story form?
Okay. I have had a very, very mixed kind of a life. I have not been very good at my studies, but I've been very good at a lot of other things. So yeah, I have always had to balance that, prove in this to make up for that and prove in that to make up for this. So it has been a bit of a struggle. At the same time, it's been very rewarding. It's led me to a lot of meeting a lot of very interesting people. It has given me opportunities which few could have even imagined. I have had the opportunity to meet the Queen of England. All because I was forthcoming enough, and I had the guts to stand by what I wanted. So that was. She came and spoke to me. I would like to take a few minutes to just say this, because
Sure.
that was the time when we were given uniforms to wear. It was a Commonwealth Youth Exchange program, and I was representing India for Bharatanatyam, and I was called a second time. This only happens once for a student. I was called a second time because that was the 21st year, and some of them from that group were chosen to meet the Queen. So they said they want me in the group. I said, I was not going to refuse that. So when I went, they gave us all uniforms. We had these white sweatshirts with the logo of the Commonwealth Youth Exchange written on it. And we were given umbrellas. Knowing the British weather, we had umbrellas that we had to carry. And probably also being young and full of hot blood, I said, I will not wear that T-shirt. They said, no, that's protocol. I said, I will not wear the T-shirt because I bought a new sari, I bought a new bindi just to meet her, and I'm not going to wear a T-shirt and spoil all that. They said, ma'am, everybody else is wearing it. I said, she is not my queen. I didn't ask to meet her. If I'm coming in my sari, I'm coming. Otherwise, I'm not coming. So they bent the rules and allowed me to go as I was. As a result, the Queen came and stopped and spoke to me because I was looking different from everybody else. She stopped and spoke to me. It was probably, I don't know whether it was right or wrong, but it was good for me. It gave me a lot of boost in confidence and a lot of recognition. Made me very happy to even, recite it like an anecdote now after so many, many, many years. It's still an interesting anecdote to recite. So yeah, Many times I have stood for what I wanted and I have gained by it. Many times I've let something go and lost by it also. So it's been a very mixed bag that I've had. And I've had, like I mentioned earlier, I've been fortunate because of the kind of life that I had, the way I grew up, the kind of surroundings I had, the kind of activities I was exposed to. There was nothing that, of course, I did nothing with sports. But apart from that, everything else, you name it, and I've done something or the other in it. Having grown up in a small town, like literally a village. I grew up most of the time in Coog. Only for my college we came to Mysore. So in a small place, so seemingly small place, I have had a lot of opportunities. So yes, I've had a very lucky life.
Wonderful to hear that. A variety of experiences that you had.
Yes.
Great to know that.
Yeah.
So how come you started with this global theming? The name itself is so different. And what do you do in it?
Global teeny. I had a fascination for cooking. So even when I went on that youth exchange, I remember I had never entered the kitchen before that. So there was they were raising money to send to some SOS villages with an organization called Together One World. And I said, I'll make Wottis and egg curry. Wotti is the rice bread we make with cooked rice. So I had only seen the lady in the house make it. I had no idea there was something called maida, which was different from rice flour. That was my knowledge of the kitchen. So I took maida and started kneading it with both my hands, and then realized it's not coming the way it should. Obviously, it was maida and not rice flour, so it was very different. I still pulled it off. I still pulled it off. We made quite a nice packet with a lot of other food also, but these two were very popular. And that probably triggered off my thing for wanting to cook, because my dad was paranoid to allow me into the kitchen. So he bought me an oven, a lovely oven, tied up the burners, and told me I can use only the oven part of it. So that is how protective he was. So when I got married and came, I knew all kinds of baking and everything. I didn't know how to make rice. So from there I started, but that fascination was there. So first I started off, I think from college I've been making cakes and all that and giving it for cousins and friends, weddings. And I started in Chennai as Limited Overs. Along with my play school, I had a little tuck shop called Limited Overs. Then I went on to rename it and call it Bake Delights. Then when it was not only the baking part of it, and there was a lot of food also that was going out of the place, I wanted a rebranding, thanks to my daughter and her friends, that was. So they said, no, you have to have a different name, and Bake Delights is too generic and all that. So we came up with this name, Global Teeny. Teeny in my language is food, just food. I didn't know it would be almost the same in Tamil also. So it worked very well for me.
That's nice. Nice to hear that. What all services or the products that you offer through that global then?
I have a variety of cakes, of course. I don't do, theme cakes and too much of decoration. I don't believe in, simply because I've seen a lot of places where they have these very fancy cakes where they remove all the decoration, bin it, and eat only the cake. So, however much they pay, I can't think of so much of my effort just going into the bin. So, I stick more often than not to healthy cakes. So, I don't use maida unless it's maybe say a red velvet cake or something, which will not take color unless it is maida. I don't use refined flour. I avoid refined sugar by and large. So it's organic sugar and organic whole wheat that I use in all my cakes. And even the food that I supply, I do a lot of continental food. I do a lot of food from Coop, and also these parathas and samosas and lots of stuff like that, party food and all that. I try to keep everything as healthy as I can. And it's always two specifications. I never have stock which somebody can just come and pick up. So even if I'm making a chivda, it will be according to the spice levels of the person who has ordered. And the poa that I use will be what the person wants, whether it's organic poa or white poa, whatever the person asks is what I will make. So it's completely specific to the customer's demands. Yeah.
So it's wonderful to know that you customize the according to the customer's requirement and even deliver the products, food
Yes.
items.
Yes, I have it delivered.
That.
And I also don't use disposable packaging. Because again, I've seen the waste that develops in the landfills and all that, and I cannot bring myself to even give one knife. I tell them, if you want a knife, you can always bring it from your house. Please bring your knife, and I have it in these tins. I supply all my cakes and all my food. It goes in my dishes, and they send the dishes back. Cakes go in tins, which they can later use to keep their masalas or some of them keep their bangles and all that in those tins. They're very pretty tins that I have. So yes, I'm very conscious of the environment. I don't even use butter paper because that's also not degradable. I use degradable paper even for the base lining of the cakes. So yeah.
So creative and interesting it is.
Something I want to do. I mean, it's. I think when there's a need for you to do something, when you really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. That's about, yeah.
So what are the areas that you're covering for your global team?
I don't have an area specification. I have even sent cakes up to Vandalur and up to Avadi on the other side. So yeah, I don't have an area specification because the person who is doing it for me now has not had that restriction. So earlier, I had my own delivery person who used to, go and give the cakes himself. Now, later it became a little economically, a little not viable to have him because then I was not even charging for the delivery. So not charging for the delivery and keeping a delivery person was not really, it was not making good business sense. So now I have this person who is doing it for me and it's working beautifully.
So you're covering the entire Chennai city.
Yes, city, even the outskirts also.
So moving to the next vertical of yours, YouTube channel, Kaleidoscope, how it all started and what all you do in it.
Yeah. I call it Smithas Kaleidoscope. However narcissistic it might sound, I still call it Smithas Kaleidoscope because I wanted I wanted to personalize it to the extent that, I wanted to completely own it. This again was a byproduct of the many things that I have done. I was a competitive orator when I was in school and college. So that held on. I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer. So that the oratory and the dancing probably came together to make stories. So when I told stories, the expressions on my face were very spontaneous. I did not, and only when others told me, I realized that I am using my dance skills in saying something. So that was there in my mind. When I came to Chennai, I started off this place called Fun to Learn. This was like an activity center and an after school. It was probably among the first few which started in Chennai as activity centers. And it did really well. Then I used to be called to the British Council Library to teach oratory skills, to do storytelling, workshops for little kids. I should do it with good books. That's a Tulika, this one. It's a store of Tulika. I used to do that. So all this has happened at one point, after which I moved on to other things. So with this lockdown and all that, I was like, I always wanted to do something with my voice. That's something that that has always fascinated me. being able to reach people with voice. In the middle of that, I did a theater course also in Adi Shakti. So because of all that, I thought I had the skill to actually tell stories, officially tell stories and make videos. And those took off very well. Once the video started taking off, I started getting requests for reading out lesson plans for the children and, narrating, giving the background narration for animated movies that are going on. So it's been very fulfilling. Yes, this is why I started Smithas Kaleidoscope, because in there I've started doing a wide range of things. I do some recitation, I do stories from different languages. Although my fluency is best in English, I still try to do a little in my mother tongue. I'm fine, and Kannada and Hindi. I try to do something. I'm not very good at it, but still, I have not given up.
So you're a multilingualist also.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far because my strength is in English. I can manage. Like in my, like I say, languages for communication. I can communicate in a few languages, but I can't say I have linguistic prowess in any language.
Having traveled this much, like you might have faced a lot of challenges in your career or in your ventures also. How did you manage it? What particular trait of yours made you overcome all the challenges and help you to reach your target?
Okay, for me, this is a bit of a dicey question because I cannot really think of challenges per se. I have been lucky. I have had the challenges have been my not wanting to do something, you know, and when I didn't want to do something, I've always have had the permission not to do it, which is quite rare for anybody, you know. If I was working somewhere, then I didn't feel like working, I could just give it up. So there was nothing binding me to do anything that I have done. So I wouldn't say there was any challenge per se, but it needed a lot of hard work. That I will definitely say. It needed 100% commitment from my side in everything that I did. That's spontaneous for me. That the commitment really helped me.
You have been managing your personal life as well as your career into different verticals like global, teeny, kaleidoscope, and storytelling, a lot of other interest areas of yours. How come you got time for all these and how did you manage time? What is the secret behind it?
The secret is complete support. I had a lot of support. My daughter always went with whatever I did. And, you know, she's not someone who gets involved with everything that I do, but she's very adjusting with anything that I do. It's the same with my husband. He doesn't get completely involved and engrossed in what I'm doing. At the same time, there's that, you know, I feel that pillar behind me. I feel that complete support, that and that uh, total non-judgment from both of them. About there are days when I have too many orders and I've not cooked anything for the house. I'm cooking for other people. There's nothing to eat in the house, and they're like, "It's okay. We love Maggie. We'll make Maggie for ourselves." And you know, both of them are that adjustable. So when I get involved, I guess that's another disadvantage of doing too many things. When I get involved in something, I'm so, even if it's a puzzle that I'm just solving, I'm so involved in it, I'll forget the rest of the world. But then these two will be like, oh, there's nothing. It's okay. I can adjust. This is normal. Very rarely my daughter will say, "Ma, can I order some food from you so that you know I can have some nice food?" But otherwise, it's managing time. I wouldn't say it's my strength because I do kind of go off in one direction and forget something else that I need to be doing. It's just that I have the resources to do a lot of things. I have been blessed with a little bit of talent and a lot of exposure. Um, and I'm prepared to work very, very hard. I'm really prepared to work very hard.
You have a wonderful supporting team at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a God's gift, actually. Right.
Very true. Thank you.
Who is your role model as such?
My grandmother. No, I don't even have to blink to think about it. My grandmother. She lived to be 96. Yeah, she lived to be 96. And when she was 85 or 86, she was still climbing trees because, if she wanted something, she would just climb the tree and get it for herself. She liked guavas. So I remember this time she asked me for a guava and I said, 5 minutes, I'm doing something else. By the time I finished those 5 minutes, which were obviously more than 5 minutes, when I came back and saw she was on top of the tree, I said, why are you doing this? She said, no, I wanted a guava. If I don't get a guava when I want a guava, I don't want a guava when you give me the guava. I said, okay. So, and she could engage in a conversation with anybody. And she could also let you be. She did not force her presence on anyone. That has been a big learning for me. She's been there for not just all her grandchildren, for so many people she's been there, but she has never been intrusive in anybody's life. She's been just like sugar that melts in a glass of water. You can't do without it, but you really don't see it. So that's how she was, and that enthusiasm she had for life. When she died at 96, she had started 2 or 3 pickles. There was a little, almost like a booklet of recipes that she had written down, which she was going to try out once she came back from the hospital. So she, even sitting on the hospital bed, she was full of life, solving math problems or exchanging recipes or telling stories to children. That zeal for life that she had, it is amazing. And yes, she is my role model, 100%.
Really amazing, Grandma.
Absolutely.
How do you pass your time, if at all you have some, or do you have any particular hobby as such, or how do you de-stress yourself?
Okay, I can read anything. It need not be a book that makes sense. It can be just a nonsensical piece of paper. I can read it. This is again something I picked up from my grandmother. I will read anything. So if I'm sitting quietly, I'll be reading something. And I love gardening. And I love a lot of heavy work, gardening, as in I'll bring the mud myself, I'll mix it all together, I'll fill it in there, I'll do end to end. And I love solving jigsaws. I love watching movies, although I hope my family doesn't hear me saying this, because according to them, I only sleep in front of the television. I don't watch anything. But suddenly I'll wake up and I see something, I'll get totally involved in what is happening there. And then, by then I would have made my own story and I will continue watching. So they say, you don't know anything. What are you watching? No, it's fine. It's fine. I know what is happening there. I'll say and I'll start. So I can get involved in anything that is happening around me like that. So that's a big de-stressor for me. Yeah.
Even in de-stressors, you have a list and a variety.
Yes. I can't do the same thing. I can't do the same thing, which is why I'm a serial entrepreneur. I can't stick to one thing. I'll do that. I won't leave anything that I've started, but I'll still start something else, and I'll start something else. Yeah.
So what about your future plans?
Future plans is more or less to go on the way I have gone, and just go on the way I want. And I don't want to at any point be compelled or put myself in a position that I have to do something. It always has to be that I want to do something. This is something I work towards. I work very hard towards wanting to do something and not having to do something. So yes, so I have also just about finished my training to be a counselor. So my future, I do see that quite big in my future. being a counselor and, being a support to anybody with mental health issues. That seems like like the direction that I'm going now. Yeah.
So the last question would be like, can you give an offer to the viewers or the subscribers of the channel? You were talking about a variety of fields. Which field would you like to take up?
Okay, I can probably give an offer on my storytelling or on communication skills or something. I can probably do a free webinar or something if anybody is interested, and then give maybe some small kind of a discount to a group that wants to enroll. I could do that.
That's great to hear. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So nice of you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Maybe the target group for your storytelling can be companies, corporates, as well as institutes.
Yes.
Or individuals also.
It can be little children. It can be a group of children, a group of students, corporates. So, and I can tell weave-in stories for any of these categories, and teach them something in the back end, especially communication.
Wonderful. So nice of you. Thank you. Thanks a lot for coming.
That's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I feel really honored. Thanks.
To avail the offer given by Mrs. Smitha, all you have to do is, number 1, subscribe this channel. Number 2, message your interest in the comment box. Mrs. Smitha has given us special offer to avail free storytelling session. Target groups are corporates, educational institutions, or individual groups. So hurry, subscribe, and avail the offer. We'll meet you soon with another wonderful women entrepreneur. Thank you.